What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Marco. His name is Gunner. It has been a very, very long time since I posted something. Too long, in fact. And I've got a little bit of a drive ahead of me, so I wanted to pop on and talk about what's been going on in my life. All good things this time. And to speak a little bit about where this channel is heading. So, for those of you who don't know me or who have not been around for a long time, because frankly, I haven't been around for a long time, this channel is all about gaming, sports simulation gaming, war gaming, reviewing games, playing games, all things tabletop sports and the hobby. And it is, quite frankly, the passion of my life, and I've enjoyed doing it, and I've really, really, really missed it. But as I've documented on the channel over the years, I have gone through quite a bit. I had a kidney transplant, I was on dialysis, and then this past summer, as a matter of fact, just 2 months ago, my wife and I welcomed our baby girl via adoption. So, to say the least, I've been a busy man on top of work responsibilities and being a husband and being a good member of my family and community and all that. So, this channel has fallen by the wayside, unfortunately. But my gaming hobby and my passion certainly hasn't. So I apologize on the front end for my absence. And I felt like I owed everyone a bit of an explanation as to why my channel has been dark for, God, I think, how long, buddy? Maybe a year? Which leads me to what's been going on lately. So, as I mentioned, we welcomed a baby girl a couple of months ago. I have been on paternity leave, and as I've been off and spending a lot of time with my girl and my wife, and although I use the term free time lightly because it hasn't really been that much free time. You know, your whole world becomes about that little 9-pound human being that you're responsible for. But I've had, I would say, the most free time that I've had in quite some time. So what I have started doing is I have dipped my toes into creating games, developing games. And I have gotten a few games to the point where all I have to do is create some score sheets and some team cards, and I will have games ready to be play tested. And I'm going to spend the next couple minutes talking about the games that are in the pipeline, talking about which games are ready for testing, which games are a little bit further down the road. But I feel really good about the games that I've come up with, and I feel like some of them really fill a gap in our hobby. Now, I say that with utmost respect to all of the developers out there. But I feel like everyone in the hobby has what I'm about to say, and that every game is missing a little something, or every game is could add this. Now, I'm not saying my games are all encompassing. They surely are not. But I feel like they fill a void in terms of either the sport itself being underrepresented or an aspect of the sport being underrepresented. So I will go through, I have 3 games. Well, really it's 4 games, but one of the games has 2 versions that are ready for play testing. All I have to do is create some score sheets and some team cards. So I will go through each of those 4 games briefly. And then I have 3 more games in the pipeline that are going to need a lot more seasoning and a lot more development. I will also say on the front end that 2 things. One, I have used AI quite a bit, but I think I've done it strategically in that, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is how I want the game to look, this is how I want the game to play, this is how I want it to feel, help me out. And really what I've used AI for is more of the analytical stuff, like finding the math with the dice and all that. And so I would say, and there's a few folks out there One I will name because we talk pretty regularly, and that is Brian Hafferkamp over at the Clark and Addison Gaming Company, who has created some awesome games, including Play Action Football, which is my top football game I've been playing lately, which I will get that to the table sooner or later. But he has created, in a similar vein, some games that are heavily AI influenced as well. So I'm sort of following his lead in sort of utilizing these tools to make our lives as developers a lot easier, but also I think it's an untapped potential if, for example, you're looking to create a schedule. It's so much easier doing it with AI, or creating maybe standings. It's so much easier to do it with AI. So I've been utilizing that. Part 2 is I am not quite sure yet how I want to approach the games. So I will say that on the front end. And what I mean by that is, do I plan on releasing the games for free and then charging for seasons? I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Or make it more like what John Turnbull is doing, where the games and the seasons, or at least a couple of seasons, are free, and then he charges for sort of ancillary things like the die roll bucket and a few other things. I'm not sure where I'm heading on that. More to come. That's a little bit down the line yet, but it is something I'm percolating on. So now let's get to the good stuff, the games. So first and foremost, and I teased this game quite literally years ago, and that is a rugby game. Now, I know rugby is not the number one sport in America. It probably is not in the top 10. It's probably not in the top 20 sports in America, but I do believe it is an underserved game in the gaming market. Now, I have created a rugby game that plays a full match in around 25 to 30 minutes with finder stats, and it creates fairly accurate results. But more importantly, there's a lot of flavor to it, and it's more of a highlights-driven game where you really get a sense of how the teams perform. You really get a sense of if you're playing the New Zealand All Blacks, for example, or Ireland, which ironically, I'm recording this on Saturday, November 1st in Chicago, and New Zealand and Ireland are about to play at Soldier Field. I'm very jealous that I can't go. Those teams will play like themselves. And it's very fun, if I do say so myself. It is a very fun engine. I would equate it to almost like, if you're familiar with Stone Cold Hockey, if you're familiar with, what's another game I would compare it to? Sort of like a cross between Stone Cold Hockey and Play Games, where you're getting highlights, you're getting rucks, you're getting mauls, you're getting lineouts, you're getting fouls, you're getting kicks, you're getting moving a pawn up and down the field, and it is really fun to play. So that is game number 1. I'm very, very excited about that. Game number 2 that I am extremely excited, and this is the game, and I decided to pull off so I could finish this video. This game is there's two versions of it. There is a football version and a basketball version. Now, I'm calling it Program Director. It is the Program Director series. So there's Program Director College Football and Program Director College Basketball. And the idea of the game is you have just been named the Program Director of a college program. Again, football or basketball. I think I'm going to release the basketball or play test the basketball one first because it is a smaller roster and easier to manage. But the idea is you are going to run, and you get to choose. You can either roll dice and have it choose for you, or you can choose. Are we going to take over a blue blood? So a Kentucky, a Louisville, a UCLA. Think biggest college programs, a UConn, whatever. You can take over a little bit lower tier, so like maybe a big time Big Ten team, maybe an Ohio State, maybe a Michigan State, something like that. A mid-major, and then sort of a lower mid-major or mid-minor, I don't know what they would call it, and then like a bottom feeder. And depending on where you choose to start your career, it is going to be easier or harder for you. So if you want more of a challenge, start down here. If you want just a fun gameplay, take a blue blood. And so how the game works is you take over a program. You are given an initial roster, which you will roll up. So you'll find out your initial roster, and every player is a 1 through 5 star rating. Now, I use that system. I know Brian Haferkamp has been working on a baseball dynasty that uses a star system as well. I am not quite using what he's doing, but what I am I did choose the star system because I feel like college sports, that's sort of what it is, right? We got a 5-star recruit. We got a 4-star recruit. It just made things simple. So you'll get an initial roster, and then, again, depending on where you start your career, you will be allotted a certain number of D6s. So if you're a big-time program, you're going to get 6 D6s for your roles. Then what you're going to do is you are going to have to recruit. So you're going to generate a list of recruits, and they're going to have columns, not columns, but they're going to have quotients or numbers or thresholds that you need to hit for them to be interested in your program. And then they're going to have, once they're interested, here's what it's going to take to sign them. And this then becomes a resource allocation game. So you will have a certain number of recruiting points that you can spend, and then scouting points that you can spend. Now, why is that important? Scouting points means you can uncover 1-star and 2-star recruits, and maybe it turns out that they're a 3 or a 4-star recruit. So it would cost you far less recruiting points to get that player, but it's going to cost you more scouting points to find out if he really is a 1 or 2-star recruit. So it's a risk-reward system. It's very cool. You go through the whole recruiting phase. It's all done on one sheet of paper. I've done it a few times. It is very fun to do. Then you have your team, and then you will generate a regular season chart. You will play through the games, and it's just quick die roll. The college football game, you can go game by game because it's only a 12-game schedule. College basketball, 30 games, you can go game by game. I wouldn't recommend that. I offer a chunks version, so you can play it in chunks. So then you have your conference tournament. Depending how well you did in the regular season, you will play more or less games in the conference tournament. And then there's ranking points throughout the year. So then you get to Selection Sunday, and once you have X number of ranking points, you either make the tournament or you don't. Then you play the tournament. Depending on how you do there, you get to the end of your season, you have a final score for your season, and then you roll on, I forgot what I'm calling the chart, but you roll on a chart that tells you, basically it's the board of directors telling you how you did. And if you did really well, you're going to get more resource points for next year. If you moved up, so for example, if you were that bottom feeder and you went 20-10 and you somehow made it to the Sweet 16, you're going to come up to that mid-major level. So you're going to have more resources. You're going to get to roll more die. You're going to have more things to allocate so you can get better quicker. And then you keep going. And the replayability, and you can see how far you can take it. It's really cool because there's trade-offs. If you decide to play as that blue blood and you don't have success right away, they could fire you. And if you start as that low-tier guy and you play really well, you'll advance quicker and get more points quicker because you're overperforming, if you will. So there is the basketball version of that, the football version of that, and that is the program director series. Really excited about that one. The last game, and this one needs a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more cooking. And that is, I'm sorry. That's not the last game. I'll talk about this one first. So this one needs a little bit more seasoning. I need to refine it a little bit more. This is another underserved game in our community, sport, if you will. And that is Formula One. I have been working on a Formula One game for a couple of years. It has looked way, way different over the years. I finally think I have it to a point where it is not only playable, it is realistic, it is fun, it is narrative driven. It allows you to make decisions. It allows you to play it in a few different ways. One, you can make decisions for drivers, or you can just act as a race director and just sort of watch it play out on your tabletop. You will have driver/team cards. It looks similar in a way to Red, White, and Blue Racing, but it's not at all the same mechanic, not even close. So you will have groups. So you have like your lead group, your chase group, your middle tier, and your bottom feeders. And as the race goes on, there's pit windows. Choose your tire compound, or the teams could choose for you. So if you're playing as Red Bull, for example, they may choose a little bit more aggressive approach, or a Williams may choose a little bit more conservative approach. And then, of course, how good your team is depends on how reliable your car is, how fast your car is. And there's some other aspects to it that I'll let you find out when we get to play testing. Again, very fun, very intuitive, very quick. I get an entire race weekend done in about an hour. So that one needs a little bit more seasoning. To be honest with you, I'm probably 6 months away, especially if I'm going to focus on these other games first, from it ever seeing the light of day. But, you know, I'll leave that for you. The last game. This, I think, is my most complete game besides the rugby game. And that is, and it already has a name, Takeover Basketball. Takeover Basketball is a fast-ish play of basketball. And how it works is every team has a team card, and every team, depending how good or bad the team is, will have superstar rated players, star rated players, and star defense rated players. So how the game works is you will pair up two teams. You'll look at every team's offensive grade, defensive grade, find the differential, and that'll tell you which chart which chart you will be rolling on. And then depending on the era, there's a few different charts as well. So really, all the legwork is on the front end in setup, and it really only takes 2 to 5 minutes to do. You find, okay, it's the 2020 Bulls versus the 2020 Bucks. So that they're an A grade against a B defense. So they're going to be using this chart when they roll. And then we're playing in 2020. So you're going to be using this scoring band. So then you will find it's a segment-based game, and each segment represents roughly 3 to 4 minutes of play. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll, whoever wins the tip-off, they will go first. And again, depending on teams' pace grades, you'll figure out who goes depending on teams' pace grades, you'll find out how many segments there are in each element. I will be right back. Sorry about that. I really tried doing that in one take, but Gunnar lost his mind. Where was I? So it's a segment by segment game. Each segment represents about 3 to 4 minutes of gameplay. You'll roll on the chart. You'll find out how many points were scored. A defense has a chance to put the clamps down. So you'll roll a defensive die, and then you'll also roll an event die. So better defenses, for example, a defensive clamp would be, let's say, like an elite defense is 1 to 8. So if you roll 1 to 8 on the defensive die, they have put the clamps down, and the scoring team, or the team that is having their segment, will get 1 less point score during this segment. Then the event die will call up certain things. What I mean by that is, and this is why it's called Takeover Basketball, is if the superstar result comes up, if the team has a superstar, then you have basically ignited the star during the following segment, and whatever scoring band you were using, you will up the score by 2 bands for the next segment. So this is where a team with, say, Michael Jordan, if you land on that superstar mode, he could really take over a game and start going off on points. And it works in the inverse. There's a defensive superstar mode where they drop the team scoring band by 1. There's tons of events. There's a lot more things that I want you guys to find out for yourself. Some really cool mechanics that I'm really proud of myself for coming up with. Certain things like highlight plays and fouls and foul trouble and foul outs, free throws. There is a final minute mini game that basically condenses into instead of a segment lasting 3 minutes, it lasts it will go like slot by slot, and it will last about 24 seconds per slot. It's really cool. Oh, also it is you can generate stats with it. And I'll explain that in coming videos on how it does that. You could do it at the end of the game. You can do it as the game goes along. It would just require some more die rolling. And my idea with it is your basketball sandbox. So how I'm constructing it, and there's a little bit more legwork to be done on this end, but how I'm constructing it is you can do full season replays that will produce accurate results. You can do cross-era play, so if you want to play the 96 Bulls against the 2020 or 2017 Golden State Warriors, you'll be able to do that. I also will be adding a total fictional element where you'll be rolling up teams. You could choose 4 teams, 8 teams, 20 teams if your heart desires, and create your own basketball universe. So those are the games that I have been working on, and some of them are years in the making. Some of them are really came together super fast. Like, for example, the Program Director game, I literally made that game in 4 days. Now, I say that with a little bit of, I don't want to say trepidation, but that one was heavily AI assisted in terms of figuring out the math. So what I would say, I'll say something like, okay, how many points would a blue blood team be able to have versus a lower tier, where it makes mathematical sense that you can still compete, but it's going to be very hard in the recruiting market. So for those curious, to the extent that I used AI, that is what I'm referring to. And I really think that these games have a potential to be really cool. And I'm really excited to share them with you guys. Yeah. So I don't know if I want to share more. There's a few other games I have that I've been kind of percolating on. A cricket game. There's an arena football game that I'm also thinking about. There's also an NHRA drag racing game. That one, I hesitate to say that it's done, but I think it's the most complete game. But there's a few, I don't want to say issues, but I'll just say issues. The first issue is I just don't know that there's any interest for anyone to play an NHRA drag racing game, number one. And number two, it's a pretty simple game. It's just roll a couple of die, see who gets down the track first, and then it produces, there's some events that can pop up, like smoke the tires or what have you. Yeah. So that is what's new in my life. So keep an eye on the channel in the coming weeks and months. I'm going to start demoing these games when I finally get around to making the score sheets and the charts and the game cards and all that. I am currently, with what time I have today, I've got to go to a family event in a few hours. I've been spending my morning working on the team cards for the basketball game. So that, Gunner's about to freak out. Oh, he held it together. Good job. So that game will be first up in terms of ready for play testing. So let me know in the comments or reach out to me. You can email me, marcogscola@gmail.com. And I would love to put together a group of playtesters that would be interested in any of the games. But I think I'm going to start with basketball. I'll put this out there. Let's start with basketball and rugby, because those two games are ready to go. In terms of playtesting, I just need to clarify the score sheets, the team cards, and actually formalize the rules, and then have at it. So I'm really excited, everyone, and also, to be honest with you, a little bit nervous, because I'm not a developer. I'm just this is what I would say. I'm just a guy who loves this hobby and loves these games, and what every developer tells you, and now I suppose I'm in this camp as well, I start by making the games I want to play. I have been looking for a basketball game that plays quick, is realistic, and can be done on team cards, and I can print and play at home, and has some fun factors and elements to it. And there wasn't something on the market that exactly matched that. There's some very, very good basketball games out there, but none quite like that. So I made it. I have not found a rugby game that I enjoy, so I made one. I have not found a college recruiting game at all. So I made one. So that's where I'm at. Let me know in the comments. I've got to run. And I'm excited to be, should I say I'm back? I think I'm back. I'm excited to be back. I never really went anywhere, just off of YouTube, I guess. But excited to talk to everyone. Excited to see who's interested in play testing. And let's take this journey together. Let's do this together. It's going to be a good time. Take it easy, everybody.